Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Apparently there is another element there in the periodic table of elements, Chuck Norium, or so claims Josh Holmes from Microsoft. Now, Josh, we're here at OpenCamp.
Yes.
And you are representing Microsoft.
Yes. Well, not only representing, I'm actually an official blue badge of the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
So, yes.
But wait a minute, OpenCamp's all about open source software. So what is Microsoft doing here?
That would be that would be a quandary, wouldn't it? It'd be a good question. So the reality is that open source and Microsoft are actually not opposed to each other. There are definitely products that compete with each other, etc. So if you look at Linux and Windows, they're definitely head-to-head competitors and so on and so forth. But the reality is that at the end of the day, if you look at a lot of the different web technologies, so WordPress, .NET Nuke, which is a .NET CMS solution, they're competing back and forth, but they all run really, really well in Windows. In fact, that has become, over the last 3-4 years, a real focus of the Internet Explorer team. I'm sorry, not Internet Explorer. Internet Information Server, IIS team, is making sure that PHP runs as well or better on Windows than it does on the Linux side of the world.
So Microsoft actually supports a lot of conferences, or open conferences, that are related to these programming languages that aren't owned by Microsoft.
Yes, yes. In fact, if you go to a Joomla Days in the U.S., there's one in New York, one in D.C. Those are going to be held probably at the Microsoft offices. We had a big presence at the DrupalCon over in Copenhagen because we actually partnered with the Commerce guys to do SQL Server support for Drupal. WordPress, we're working very closely with them. They were actually at our PDC, the Professional Developers Conference. Matt actually got up on stage to introduce one of the guys from the Cheeseburger Network guys. And
Scott Porad?
I think
or
so.
Or Ben?
Maybe.
I bet you it was Scott.
I can't remember. I'm not gonna make a decision. Make a definite claim on that one.
Sure.
But if you go to oddlyspecific.com, that's actually WordPress running against SQL Server in Azure, which is our cloud hosting solution. And if you go to oddlyspecific.com, you'll see it's nice and snappy and so on and so forth. But we have got a lot of great platforms, and with Azure, our cloud hosting solution, with Windows and IIS.
I think a boat is coming
bell.
in somewhere.
That is a very loud bell.
Yes, I would say. So if you had anything to say to someone who would claim that Microsoft doesn't believe in open source software, what would you say to them?
I would say that there's historical context for that. I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of bad blood in the past, but I'd like for them to take a new look at Microsoft and see that the reality is, yes, we compete head-to-head with certain products in the open source community, and where we compete hard. And that's it doesn't matter if you're open source or not. We compete hard in wherever we happen to have a competing product. So with our Office suite, we're competing very hard with any other Office-like suite out there, whether it's an open source one or not. And in the web solutions, we compete hard in a lot of different places.
So Josh, if anybody had any questions, how would they get a hold of you?
So they can get a hold of me by going to my blog at joshholmes.com. They can email me at josh.holmes@microsoft.com. They can find me on Twitter at Josh Holmes. They can find me on Facebook at Josh Holmes. Catch a pattern a little bit.
Yeah, I think they could find you somewhere on the web.
But to sum up very shortly, we've thrown a lot of weight and a lot of work into supporting any of the web stack, not just PHP, but ASP.NET as well. And what I'm demoing here quite a bit is the web platform installer, which gets things up and running very quickly, very stably. My talk here tomorrow is actually on scaling WordPress on the Microsoft stack. So if you are interested in any of that, please reach out to me, and I'd love to work with you.
Thanks again, Josh.
Thank you.